Okay. So I have tried to record this several times, like over 10 times now. And I've tried to be really not quick, but I'm trying to be expedient. I've realized I am just messing things up by not being thorough. This is probably going to be a longer video. This is easily one of the most intricate endings, at least for a speedrun, in this game. And I just want to make sure I cover all the bases. I want to make sure that it's digestible. I want to make sure it's understandable. I want to make sure that casual players can understand it and use it, as well as speedrunners. This is primarily directed towards Harvest Moon speedrunners, but this is going to be an overview and a tutorial for my route of the cake contest ending of Save the Homeland. So this utilizes actually several. One of the problems I'm running into is this actually utilizes several different tricks that Save the Homeland has to offer, and the setup. Yeah, I mean, it takes some explaining, but also they're set up at a few different stages, and so and it's very crucial that you do the setup. Otherwise, you'll get to the point where you need to use it, and you won't be able to, and the cutscene won't trigger or whatever. So this is gonna be longer. I can't really like rush this too much. So okay, so cake contest. I'll just give a kind of a simple overview. Cake contest is where Katie makes the magical cake, saves the town. You need 3 ingredients for it. You need golden milk, golden egg, and the moondrop dew. The golden egg and the golden milk are obtained from a cow, or a chicken and a cow respectively. The chicken and the cow have to be over a certain amount of affection. I'm actually not entirely sure exactly what the amount is. We'll find that out when we get there. I think it has to be over 250. But it won't really matter in the speed run because you'll be certain that you've gotten that far. You'll be able to tell, and you can check as well. And then they have a random chance to produce a golden milk or a golden egg, right? And so you need to buy those animals in an any % run, which means you need to get the money for them. In order to get the money, you need to grow crops. That's what I'll be going into at the beginning of this run. But the other requirement for the cake is the moondrop dew. The moondrop dew can only be obtained in a cutscene on the night of a full moon, which is the 14th, the 15th, the 29th, or the 30th of any season. We'll be doing it on Spring 30, and we're going to aim to do that. I mean, it will always be Spring 30 the way that it's routed. So with that, I will try to get into it. Again, I'm gonna stop and kind of talk a bit as if I feel like I need to. I'm sorry this isn't a bit more organized. I almost wish I had kind of some notes on the side that you could read. I was not expecting this one to actually be as difficult to do as I'm having a hard time. The other ones are more straightforward than I thought compared to this one. Okay, so first let's just cover it from the get-go. Katie and Gina are the two that we're going to be working with. Katie, because she's the one that's primarily involved with the ending. You don't need to use Katie for this ending, despite appearances. You might think that you need to befriend Katie and get her to a really high level of affection. You can actually use any of the girls, any of the kind of main kind of waifu girls, whatever. Katie, Gina, Lila, Dia, and Gwen. Any of them will work for a couple of the later cutscenes. We're going to be using Katie. I'm not sure actually anymore if Katie's faster now. She's the one that you're triggering the cutscenes with. It's her kind of her plot, but as far as who to use to trigger the cutscenes, I'm kind of on the fence now. I'm actually wondering if Gina could be used, but I'm going to be using Katie in this tutorial. Gina needs to be at 10 affection in order to trigger the first cutscene with Katie. Katie needs 30, Gina needs 10. Gina doesn't appear in the first cutscene, but it is a requirement. It is a hidden requirement for that cutscene. And then we will actually be using Gina later for a trick. that is very, very useful and very, very, very required, very necessary for the speed run, and actually extremely useful even as a casual player. Like, I think it's amazing. I think it's one of the coolest tricks in the game. I mean, it's kind of obvious that you could do this, but you know, it's just a nice exploit. So we're going to be giving the negative response to these questions. The negative pattern means we're going to be answering all 3 of the goddess questions as you know, in the negative, which is the second option. And that will give both, conveniently, Katie and Gina both respond the same way to this pattern, and that is plus 15 for both of them. So let me just get down to, so we have Katie and Gina right next to each other. You can see Katie highlighted. So yeah, so getting into the money, we need to buy 8 corn seeds in order to have the money for the cow, the chicken, and the milker, which is a total of 4,800 gold. Each bag of seeds is 30, and so 8 times 30 is, of course, 240. We start off with 100, as you can see right here. We have 100 gold, so we need another 140. There's 2 ways that you can do this. I'm just going to try and go as I can, kind of talk as I go along to try and keep this moving. But just as a first note, because we're using Katie, we skip Mondays. That is her day off. Otherwise, she's available from 6 a.m. to about 10 a.m. outside the cafe any day but Monday, and as long as it's not raining. So today is Tuesday, always Tuesday the 2nd to start the year, so we are going to walk outside. So in kind of preparation, because we're going to trigger the cutscene, so the cafe opens at noon. Most of the cutscenes happen at the cafe, which means you need to go inside to trigger it, right? And Katie's in there. So you have to wait until noon for a lot of these cutscenes. So on the days that we trigger cutscenes, there's going to be 2 main days that we do that, at least in the first kind of half of the run. And we're going to try and do everything, you know, kind of burn the time effectively while we're waiting for noon. So in this case, what that means is we're going to prepare our field to plant the corn. So that means that we're going to fill our watering can first, then we're going to switch to our hoe, and we're going to till, this is the one that's closest, we're going to till 8 tiles, okay? Okay, and then once again, we got a puntata root, hilarious. So I'm going to put this in my pocket. Interesting, actually got limestone. Okay, so this is the first time I've actually, and all the times I've recorded this, that I've gotten mineral luck. So I'm going to show you a couple ways to do this. So I'll pause it really quick. So basically there's 2 ways to get the money that you need. Remember, we need 240 total and we have 100. So we need another 140. So the reason why we're tilling first is twofold. A, to kill time, and B, because we can actually sell minerals in order to get that money. I have listed in the notes, which are inaccurate, but I will be updating them, but they are accurate on this point, and that is the sell prices for all the minerals that you can dig up here, as well as a couple other things that you could sell in order to make up just a little bit of cash if you're just slightly short, and also which shops will buy which minerals. So the puntata root sells for 80, and it sells to Lewis, and the limestone sells for 40, and it sells to Lila. Now this is just short, unfortunately, so that's 120. Now, you could, if you wanted, grab a few moondrops or grab a couple of berry berries and sell those as well. However, you know, there's a lot of timing involved here. I'm really not sure what's optimal. Ideally, you just get the rare metal, which sells for 180. That's kind of the turquoise colored mineral. So you can make up the money if you're just barely short a lot of ways. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to be demonstrating the alternative, which is much more consistent. But I am going to be keeping these in my pockets, okay? Just so that we're clear. So the alternative is to go do part-time work at the Browning farm. So I unfortunately didn't cover this in my main tutorial. I forgot to do this, but it's okay because I can cover it in this one as well as the horse race. So we're just gonna go straight. If you're gonna do if you're gonna sell the minerals, you should just do that, of course. Did it? Seriously? Okay, just barely. Okay, I just barely got through early. Okay. You should just sell them and then buy the corn, and then continue with the rest, which I'll show in a minute. But if you're gonna do the minerals, or I'm sorry, if you're gonna do the part-time work, just go straight here after you till the field. So we're gonna come here. The first option, you have to talk to him from across the counter like this. You can't talk to like a little piece of paper. That's where the buy and sell menu comes up. And the first option is gonna be part-time work. Again, apologies, this is in Japanese. And then he's going to ask you if you want an explanation. You want to say no, which is the second option, otherwise it's kind of a long explanation. He's going to give you a brush and a milker. You can tap the right tool button twice to get to the brush and then confirm it, or then equip it. And so basically it is 50 gold per hour that you're out here in the field. So you can just stand here and let the time pass and have the money rack up. But then also 20 gold per animal that you brush. I tend to do 4 of the horses plus the cow because the rightmost and leftmost horses are pretty far in the corner and they can kind of walk really far, even further. Of course, all their positioning is a bit random, but I tend to do the cow plus 4 of the horses. And so that's going to give me 20 times 5 is 100, plus 50 for the hour is 150, so this is just over how much I need. And I am going to then go straight to the flower shop. And again, so this is corn is the third one down. If you press left, it will select the maximum amount that you can buy. So you can do that. So you get 8. Okay, and so then at this point, basically, if I had done this, if I had sold the minerals, which is a lot faster, not insanely faster, but definitely considerably faster than the part-time work, then I would go straight for my farm, plant and water, and then go to the cafe. But because I did the part-time work, I'm actually going to go to the cafe first. And that just saves on loading zones. I'm realizing after recording this so many times and even thinking of nuances to it that I didn't even know, that I hadn't even thought of from my own runs and routing over the past 3 years. I am realizing this one is interesting to optimize. Okay, so we want to pick up 1 berry, or herb, or flower. Katie will take any. So on this first day, we want to just pick up 1 and put it in our pockets. And here's where the next, this is very important. Very, very, very important. So you see a weed here. The reason why I kept the minerals in my pocket is because I can use them for something that I need to do in just a minute, or I can use a weed. So if I don't get a mineral, or I sell the minerals, meaning that I don't have one to use later, and I don't see a weed, then I should reset. And I would say that is reasonable to reset for this. So a weed can appear, I'm pretty sure that a weed can appear anywhere that an herb could grow. And so there's a number of areas here in the carpenter area, and you can see them pretty clearly as you walk. There can be one right there, and then there's also a couple that can appear over here. So again, I have the minerals, so I don't need it. A weed can appear there. Weed can appear there. Next point is, so this is going to be more relevant later. Actually, very relevant, I'm realizing all of a sudden. Parsley enters the cafe at about 11:45. The doors swing closed behind him at 11:45. A quarter hour in real time is about 6.5 seconds. So what I do to know when because if I don't keep track of it, then it just displays this text and this stops the clock. So rather than just spamming circle or X, I guess in the English version, here to open the door and costing time, I can wait for the doors to swing closed and then look at my clock look at my timer when that happens, and then wait about 7 seconds. And then I'll know I can enter. Wait, enter. Serious? re-enter. Okay, weird. Okay, and so I demonstrated this a minute ago in the last recording, but I don't think I'm going to do this. I would recommend my basic affection tutorial video, which is the second video in this playlist. And it's going to explain what's called a weed intro. A weed intro works with any item that an NPC does not accept. So that can be that falls into two categories. An item that would reduce a character's affection, such as a weed or fodder. Again, that varies between characters, but that's a pretty good rule of thumb. The reason why I call it a weed intro is because a weed is pretty much a universal item that you can use for this trick, or an item that is 0. Now, not all +0 items work for this, because some items that are 0, the character will actually take and put in their pocket. So it has to be an item that when you show it to the character, they just stare at you, and you keep the item in your hand, okay? And so a weed will work for this. And so now with Katie, I just want to point out, any mineral will work except the puntata root. The puntata root is actually an item that she will accept as a gift, and she will put it in her pocket, so this trick won't work. So instead, I'm going to use the limestone. And what you'll notice is that this is my introduction with her. What you'll notice is that she has not put it in her pocket. She would normally get +10, but because I'm holding an item, she's going to get +12. She'll be at 27. And it's very important. Well, okay, basically two things. So I need to save this for Gina. I need to have an item to give to Gina, okay? Because I do need to gift her one more time. So remember I said that the first cutscene requires 10 with Gina, but we actually need to raise her affection a little bit more for something later, okay? And let me just make sure. Yeah, sure enough. Okay, good. Okay, so we need to raise it a little bit more. So I need to show her an item later. And so normally you'd probably just want to give her the weed. You can give her any item, because it's just going to be you're just going to introduce yourself to Gina. You can be holding any item. It's ideal that you probably just use the weed or the mineral that you're using. So I can just put this back in my pocket. In this case, I have the puntata root, so I can just use that. So I'm going to throw this. But it really depends. This is going to be situational, but I'll touch on that again later. But then I want to give Katie the very berry that I picked up, or the herb, or the flower, whatever, right? Again, I'm sorry. This is so verbose. I'm just trying to go into detail so I don't mess this up. I've done this many times now. This is a very interesting ending. I just want to be... So I'm going to exit, and I'm going to re-enter. And you can see I've passed 30. I just barely exceeded 30. And that's why it's very important that you do the weed intro, because it gets you an extra 2 affection that you wouldn't otherwise be able to get. And that allows us to trigger the cutscene on the first day. And again, the reason why we want to do that is because we're doing those other things also on the first day, and we might as well combine them into the same day, right? So I'm going to skip this cutscene. I hold start, and it's actually also going to play this cutscene, so it automatically boots us outside and shows us a second cutscene with Gwen. But as long as I'm holding start, it doesn't matter. It's going to skip both of them. So you're going to hold start as you re-enter the cafe. Okay. So I'm going to try really hard not to mess this up. Hang on. Okay, so I finally actually have a save state, so this should save a lot of time. So now what we're gonna do, as I said, if I had done, if I had sold the minerals, it would have saved me a lot more time. So I think it's probably better to, hang on. I think it's probably better to plant and water before you go to the cafe. If you do that, that probably needs to be timed. But regardless, whether you do it before or after, the main reason why I do it after is because I have almost always done part-time work, because again, the mineral luck is very spotty. Okay, and then we're gonna water. So we're gonna plant all 8, and then we're gonna water. Okay. And so this is actually really good. So I have a save state now, and so I'll skip to the save state, but first I'll kind of tell you the schedule, the harvest schedule for these corn, and the math, basically, how the money works out. So, actually, wait, there's one other thing actually we need to do. Okay, so we're going to water them on the first day. And as I said, we're going to actually, I guess that doesn't, no, that does matter. Yeah, okay. We're going to water them on the first day, and we're going to water them every day. Obviously, if it rains, you can skip watering them. But on rainy days, you're not going to gift Katie. So you're not going to leave your house at all on rainy days. But it's important that you know when you're going to harvest. So I'll just look at the calendar now. That's fine. So the first harvest, you should be able to see my mouse. The first harvest is going to be the 12th. And then it's going to be every 4 days after that, okay? And that'll make for a total, we're going to do a total of 5 harvests. So we're going to do the 12th, the 16th, the 20th, the 24th, and the 28th. Okay, the 28th will be our last harvest. Now, crucially, the dry season starts on the 22nd, so you have to water on these days, the 22nd through the 27th. Of course, you don't have to water on the 28th because that'll be your last harvest. So you do need to water those days. Now, just to cover, I think I don't remember if I already said the costs, but $2,500 for the cow, $500 for the chicken is $3,000, plus $1,800 for the milker, because we need that to get the milk from the cow. So that's $4,800 total. Ironically, or funnily enough, that's 8 corn plants, 5 harvests. That's a total of 40 corn. Each one sells for $120. That's exactly $4,800. So you have exactly enough. And then the only problem with that is that you can lose some corn in the rainy season if you get heavy rain. Heavy rain is louder, and I believe you can only lose crops in heavy rain, and heavy rain is only possible during the rainy season. So it's only possible during these 5 days. So if you lose a crop, depending on the situation, you should almost definitely reset. Obviously, in a casual run, just make up the money somehow else. A lot of these specific intricacies don't apply to a casual run, but the one situation I thought of that you could probably save it is if you lost a crop only on the 21st. Let's say they all survive through the 20th, and then you lose a single corn plant on the 21st. That means that you'll be missing, because it's a renewable crop, you're picking from the same corn plant every time. So that means that if you lose a corn plant, you lose 1 corn for every subsequent harvest that you would get from that plant. So that means that if you lost one on the 21st, you'd lose one for the 24th and 1 for the 28th. That means that you'd lose a total of 240 gold. You could make that up by selling 8 blueberries, because each one sells for 30. So what you could do if you wanted an early backup, if you're first learning this game, you could pick up the blueberries that are growing right behind Katie where she's standing. And I can show you those. You'll see them when I walk up. I hope I don't forget now. But that's one possible backup. But it only works for that specific situation where you only lose 1 plant and it happens no earlier. It only happens on the 21st. So it's kind of a specific situation. You could try and plant more corn if you wanted to do a safe route. I think personally it's easier to just reset. But it's sort of up to you. But that's just some math you can kind of work with. Okay, so I'm gonna sleep. Of course I got rain. Okay, this is fucking hilarious. I mean, freaking hilarious. Okay, so basically you have a couple, well, I guess it doesn't matter. You have a couple options. You're gonna be gifting Katie every day except for rainy days and Mondays, okay? So, and you want to gift her, you want to do what I call 11 interactions. When I say interaction, I'm talking about a gift plus a conversation, or vice versa. In some cases, you want to do a conversation first. For Katie, it doesn't matter. For the first interaction, your conversation is the introduction. So we did that with the weed intro, as I just showed. So that's what I call an interaction. So I count, when I figure out the math, I sort it out, and then while I'm in the middle of the run, I literally just use like the L key in a text document to keep tallies. I just use it literally as a tally system to keep count of interactions. And I know because I've already worked out the math ahead of time based on how much I get from each interaction and how much I need for the cutscenes, I just tally it, okay? And so I'm counting 11 interactions, so that's the introduction plus 10 more interactions. And after that, I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop until my final harvest, and I'll get to what we do after that, okay? Now, as I said, I need to talk to Gina one other time. So I'm not going to be... Here, hang on. I need to talk to Gina once, okay? And I need to have a gift. I need to have any item in my hand. It doesn't matter what it is, because we could do a weed intro or we could do a gift intro. For purposes of an intro, they're exactly the same. Because we don't need to give her another gift, we don't care whether it's a weed intro or a gift intro. And a weed intro is a gift intro. It's just that it's a specific type of gift intro. So it doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do is, you have a couple options. I'm just going to sleep. I would be gifting Katie all these days, right? I'm going to actually skip to a save state where I've done all 11 interactions. But first I'm going to just show you. Hopefully on the Saturday. Let's see. Yeah, Saturday. Okay, perfect. So basically on a Wednesday or a Saturday, that's why I kind of rolled my eyes that I just got rain on the Saturday. On a non-rainy Wednesday or Saturday, because remember, Katie's day off is Monday. So you'll be leaving your house on Saturday. You'll be leaving your farm area on Saturday and Wednesday. And Gina is fortunately right here on Wednesday and Saturday. So in this case, I'm going to use the Puntata route to do a gift intro, and you'll see she's going to get plus 10. So she'll be at 25. You can see she's right underneath Katie. Okay, and so then I would go to Katie, and I'm going to gift her over and over and over, right? Blah, blah, blah. Until 11 interactions total. And I'm including the, obviously that's, so I said, that's the introduction plus 10 more interactions. Okay. And so another thing to point out is that on any day, so like I said, our last harvest is going to be the 28th of spring. On any day between the first cutscene and the 28th of spring, at some point when you're re-entering your house, you want to go to the bookshelf and press A on the side, or press X or circle. In the Japanese version, it's circle. In English, it's X. Cross. And you will find your grandmother's recipe. This little text box cannot appear unless you have triggered the first cake contest cutscene. If you haven't, you just get this little tutorial, Grandpa's memo, right? Where he tells you a few of the controls. Okay. So that's very important that you do that. Otherwise, you can't trigger the second cutscene. Okay. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to skip to a save state where I've done my 11 interactions with Katie. So I'm going to load. This will save a lot of time. Okay. So you'll see that it's actually the 30th, okay? Also, you'll see that Gina... Wait, what day is it today? You'll see that Gina has 15. I forgot to talk to her in this one, so I'm just going to change this, but just do not forget to talk to Gina. That's very important. In fact, that will kill your run single-handedly, so you need to really make sure of that. Okay. So you'll see that it's the 30th, not the 28th. So I did my final cutscene, or I'm sorry, my final harvest on the 28th, and then I'm going to sleep 2 days. And the reason for that is what I mentioned earlier. We'll look at the calendar again. We need to get the Moondrop Dew. And the Moondrop Dew cutscene happens at 9 p.m. on a day of the full moon at the Goddess Pond area, okay? And so because it only happens at 9 p.m., we have to wait the entire day. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine that with pretty much all the other cutscenes and other preparation that we need to do, and we're going to combine it all into one day. One of the reasons I've re-recorded this a few times is because it's actually pretty tight to do all of it in time, because you need to get back to the cafe by 5 o'clock in order to trigger the cutscene where she invites you on the night of the full moon. Okay, so again, the full moon is the 14th, the 15th, the 29th, or the 30th, okay? Our last harvest is the 28th. The 29th is a Monday, so we can't do any of the cafe cutscenes, which is why we do it on the 30th, which is the Tuesday. Fortunately for us, this is the dry season. If it wasn't, we wouldn't be able to do the moon. If it wasn't and we got rain, then we wouldn't be able to do the Moondrop Dew cutscene, so rain would kill the run. Fortunately, this is the dry season. That's another reason why this route works out very nicely in 90%. Okay, and so I'm going to do this all in a very specific order, and you have to move quickly and take straight lines, otherwise you can totally... When my just practicing just a minute ago, or just trying it, I got to the cafe at like 4:45. And if you're later than that, it's over. I mean, dead run. I mean, you could sleep. I mean, you just lose a ton of time. So, and it's kind of really cool how this all works out this way. So here's what we're gonna do. So, let me just make sure I have my notes. So first things first. Early in the morning, it actually doesn't matter because we are actually going to wait a little bit until noon. Unfortunately, this is kind of, you know, I wonder if there would be a different way to organize this. You maybe could buy the cow first. You might be able to do this in a different order. I'm just going to show you how I'm doing it, and I think that this is okay. Mostly because you have to wait until 9 p.m. anyway, so then the only question would be the number of loading zones, because loading zones stop the clock, obviously. So again, this is going to be our 12th interaction. We've done 11 interactions, and it gets her to 113. And we're going to just talk to her. We don't need to give her a gift. We're just going to talk to her. I'm just going to put her at 117, and we're going to wait. So I may need to actually think about this a little bit, so I'll be updating the notes. And I'll make sure that this is, in fact, I'll do it soon because I really need to make sure this is fresh in my mind, because I would really love to see people do runs of this. It's easily got the most variety to it. You know, people complain about RNG, but in a sense, RNG adds that element of variance that you need to kind of account for. And playing well in the face of good RNG, bad RNG, knowing, you know, being able to keep track of the days and just having a good understanding of the route and everything makes it more interesting, as opposed to just, you know, for example, Endangered Weasel, where it's literally just gift Gwen every day except Tuesday, Thursday, trigger these cutscenes, end of the game. You know, it's a little bit more just kind of cut and dried, maybe not as interesting. Okay, so this is where it's going to come into, where this is really going to come into play. So you can see that Parsley's going to head over here, and it's really important that we enter here as close to noon as possible. So I'm going to be pausing to make sure that it's noon, but remember that when those doors close, 11:45, about. Okay, I should say about. The reason I will just kind of illustrate this, the reason why it varied there is because he's pacing over there. So he always starts walking towards the cafe at the same time, but depending on how far away he is at the time, since he can move around inside of a small area, it is going to vary when he gets there, which is why I say 7 seconds instead of, you know, exactly 6.25 seconds, which obviously you can't keep track of anyway as a human. But yeah, about 7 seconds. And you really want to make sure that you're entering here at noon. Because this is where you need to get back here within 5 hours. You need to leave here, do a bunch of things, get back here within 5 hours. So I'm just going to make absolutely sure. Okay. So this is the second cutscene. We're giving her the recipe here. I'm just going to kind of talk while I play through this cutscene. I could just skip it, but so basically the requirement to get the Moondrop Dew, you need to get a magical book. So basically you give her the recipe, she finds out, oh, it's golden milk, golden eggs, but there's some other secret recipe. Basically there's a few cutscenes in between this and the later cutscenes that don't seem to be totally required, because I've been able to skip some of them before. And I don't fully understand it, but they're what I call the failed cake cutscenes. It's where Katie's practicing baking and she's making kind of some crappy cakes, and you taste them and they're nasty, whatever. They're kind of comedic cutscenes, but it leads to the realization that there's some missing ingredient, and that's the Moondrop Dew. So you need to go, you don't find out that it's the Moondrop Dew until you go to I'm pretty sure this is the plot, until you go to the villa, and either Dia or Gina gives you an old book that contains the information about the Moondrop Dew. Actually, I think the recipe says that you need the Moondrop Dew, but you don't know how to make the Moondrop Dew until you get that secret book. So in order to trigger that cutscene, you need to go to the villa. You can go to the villa at any time of day, I think as long as it's unlocked, which is like before 7 p.m. And you need to have triggered this cutscene, and then any of the 5 girls, I don't know if I mentioned this because I've done this, I've recorded this so many times, any of the 5 girls, the 5 waifu girls, can have to be at 120. Okay, so that's Katie, Dia, Gina, Lila, or Gwen. Any of them work. So as you can see, that cutscene just gave us +3. We were at 117, and that cutscene gave us +3. We got to exactly 120. So the weed intro allows us not only to get just over 30 to trigger the cutscene, to trigger cutscene 1 on the first day, but it also gives us enough to get exactly 120 with just one final talk, one on our 12th interaction without a gift, which saves a little bit of time, plus the +3 that we get from cutscene 2, which is giving her the recipe. Okay, so now I'm actually going to save state here, just in case I missed the time. Because it's not actually that tight, it's just that it's hard to cut tight corners using keyboard. I'm sure it's not that difficult on controller, but you have to make sure that you make this. So we're now gonna leave the cafe. Dang it. We're now gonna leave the cafe. And I'm actually not gonna do speed up either, even though it would be faster, just because then it's easier to kind of fly out of control and lose some time. So I'm just gonna make my way there. So next we're gonna go to sell at the flower shop. Okay. Now you can sell at Ronald's as well. Actually, I don't know which is faster, actually. I bet it's definitely faster to do this. Yeah. And just make sure I can sell here. Okay, I'm good. I'm glad I realized this. So yes, you actually want to sell at Ronald's. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't actually save any time. It's just that, actually, I guess the loading zone could vary. See, I'm thinking of a ton of optimizations now. Jesus, wow. I could literally actually time a few things, because you actually have options. The problem with the other endings is you don't really have a lot of options. It's like, okay, you have to do this, you have to do this, have to do this. Not really another way to do this, or at the very least, the fastest way to do it is very obvious. In this case, yeah, interesting. But at least this gives you more wiggle room, because you don't have to walk as far out of your way to enter here as you do to enter the villa. So obviously, I don't have any corn to sell. I didn't harvest any corn, but if you did harvest your corn, you would sell it here. I'm just gonna give myself the money, which is 4,800. Thank you, cheat engine. And then, I guess actually another benefit to this. Well, does it matter? I'm trying to think. It might be faster to buy the milker right now. Again, I don't think it really matters, but you can either buy the milker right now at the tool shop, which is right to the left. I'll buy it on the way down. Or you could buy it on the way back. I'll probably just buy it on the way back. But yeah, so then we'll just head up here. And remember, we need to trigger the cutscene at the villa. And make sure you cut across this way. Instead of going obviously all the way around. If you enter here before Martha walks out, you could sell at the villa, but I think it's probably still faster to sell at Ronald's now that I think about it. Yeah, my old route sold at the villa because you can actually sell in the kitchen. Okay, so if you hold start going as you enter here, it'll skip this cutscene, and then it'll also skip this next cutscene. This is where you exit the villa. It automatically, and actually another reason why it's slower to do the villa is because this cutscene automatically kicks you outside to do this part of the cutscene where Gina chases you, I think, to give you the book. Yeah. Okay. So fair enough. So you would have to actually have to re-enter the villa anyway. So I'm convinced, sell at Ronald's. So you get that book, and you can see if you're not sure if you got the cutscene, which actually you should be sure in this case because Even if you're holding start, this is one of those cutscenes that actually starts just briefly, so you can always see the cutscene start before it skips. And so you can see this is the result of the cutscene. We get this recipe book, or, you know, I don't know, kind of magical tome, whatever. Okay. And then now we are going to go to Bob's. And again, it's very important that you don't forget any of these on the way down, otherwise you will run out of, you won't get there by 5. And then you remember you have to talk to this in order to buy, and we're not going to buy any chicken feed, we're not going to buy any fodder. So we're going to buy the cow, 1 character name, chicken, 1 character name, enter the tool shop. Actually, you might need to buy the cow before you can buy the milker. I'm not entirely sure. Might need to double check that. So don't quote me on that. Actually, something I could check. Buy the milker. Okay, and as you can see, 3:12. So we need to get to the cafe. So this is how tight, just to give you an idea. Now you might ask, well, doesn't the cafe turn into the bar at 6? It does. The cafe closes at 5. It's closed for an hour, and then it turns into the Moonlight Bar at 6. Katie, because she's underage, is not in the bar. She actually, at 6, she goes into her, and at 5 or 6, she goes into her room, which is on the side of, which you have to enter from the side of the house. Okay, so we enter here, and so the requirement for this cutscene is to have triggered the, is to have acquired the book. So then we're gonna skip this. As you can see, it is 4:35. Okay, so we have more time to work with than I thought. And actually, I think the reason why this was faster than my last attempt is because I sold at Ronald's. So that's a very good idea to sell at Ronald's. Okay, again, sorry this is long, but this is actually gonna go not too much longer, but a fair bit longer. Okay, so now what we would do is we would go to the Goddess Pond area, which is right there. However, we need to wait until 9. So even though it's extra loading zones, I am fairly certain that it's faster to do this, which is traipse all the way back to your house. And so another thing that you should notice, I didn't point this out, well, I'll talk about it in a minute, but we're gonna head back to our house. Actually, wait, no. So get the chicken second, because we're gonna put the chicken in front of our house. But the cow we're gonna put out to pasture. These are really annoying to push with keyboard. In fact, they're finicky pushing even with a joystick, but you have to actually push the cow. Push the cow to the door. Dude, come on, dude. Okay. Push the cow to the door, and then get the chicken. Very important that you do this, obviously, otherwise they'll die. We didn't buy any food. There's a reason for that. Okay, you're gonna put the chicken literally right in front of your house. Okay. And now we're gonna head back. Yes, it's a bunch of loading zones, but you know, I could be wrong. It could be slower. I'd have to time this, but I'm pretty sure this is faster. So as you can see, right now it's only 7. We actually have to wait until 9. So it's not sundown. I hold start, and okay, that's another thing to remember. I keep saying this, obviously, in all these videos, but you have to hold start as you enter the Goddess Pond for the first time. Otherwise, the Goddess introduction cutscene plays. So it's a fair bit of time. I don't know. So what is that, like 30-some seconds that you end up having to kill? That you end up just having to wait. Anyway, I'll have to think about it, but you could probably do it either way, because what's going to happen after this is, I think this cutscene puts you, and keep in mind, this is just like the Endangered Weasel cutscene, where it's going to start at 9 o'clock. It's not sundown like the Endangered Weasel cutscene. It's actually 9. So as it pulls you into the cutscene, you're going to hold start, and you can tell that it's pulling you into the cutscene because he starts running like that. So you can hold start, Yeah, okay, this puts you back at your farm. So you could do it either way. I'll say you could do it either way. I haven't timed it. That's probably another. There's actually a couple things in this ending that are pretty close. Either way, you just have to make sure that you let the cow out and the chicken out, because we're coming up on our next trick. And so I want you to pay attention to these two values, the cow and the chicken. These should work. And so I'm going to sleep. Aha! Yep. So you can see the cow and the chicken just increased in affection, right? So I left them outside so I don't have to feed them. And I'm going to show you something else. So this is the dry season, so we wouldn't get rain anyway. So obviously if it rains, then we're screwed. They could get sick. But the crucial thing to note is that Gina, if you recall, she had 25. She started at plus 15 from the Goddess Questions. Then I gave her... Oh, actually, before I say any of this, there's one more thing I need to point out. This is kind of strange, but in order to do the Moondrop Dew cutscene, there's a requirement that one of the girls has to have at least 50 affection. And whichever girl has the most affection will meet you for the Moondrop Dew. Now, you might think that's a bit strange that it's only 50, because we needed 120 in order to get the book. I don't make the rules, I just report them. 50 is the requirement. So let's say you showed Katie a weed, 100 times to drop her affection all the way to 0. You would not be able to do the Moondrop Dew cutscene until you raised it back up to 50, or you could raise one of the other girls back up to 50, and then they would do the Moondrop. They would meet you and, create the Moondrop Dew with their, unbounded affection for you. Anyway, so Gina had plus 15 from the Goddess Questions, and then by introducing myself to her with a gift in my hand, remember it was a gift intro, she got plus 10, so she was at 25. The cutscene where she gives you the book gives her plus 5, and I need to do some research. I need to see if it matters which version of that cutscene you get, but at least for the purposes of this route, she'll always get plus 5 from that. That's very important, because 30 is 30 plus Katie's affection, actually. That's also a factor, but in this case, we have it covered. 30 is the requirement for Gina's for the first cutscene of her ending, the Goddess Dress. And so this is the second trick, so I'll just show you this. And you'll see every time I sleep, the chicken is going up by 12 affection, and the cow is going up by 6. Sorry, so I'll move my cursor back to this, okay? Right, okay. So we're now in the mild season, so we could get rain. Huh. No rain. What could it be? No rain. Wow, our cow and chicken are doing pretty good. They're not quite at any hearts yet, but... And you need to sleep quite a few times, by the way. Oh yeah, if it wasn't clear, these values are the cow and chicken's affection level, like their literal affection level. Oh my god, we're in the rainy season now, and we've gotten no rain. Okay, just to break the suspense. When you have a farm cutscene queued up, such as the first Goddess, which means if I leave my house right now, I'll get a cutscene on the farm. Gina will show up and say, hey, Goddess Dress, blah, blah, blah. First cutscene for the Goddess Dress ending. Most of those cutscenes, except for, only one I can think of is when Kurt shows up to your house in the Fishy Story ending to do the moon rod, the moon, whatever it is, moon rod. You cannot get rain. And so this is a very broken trick. I very much recommend this for casual players too, because we're able to not feed our cow and chicken at all, leave them outside, and abuse the fact that they actually gain affection for being left outside in good weather, and raise their affection all the way up to the required amount. As you can see, the chicken already capped out. And then now, if you look at, again, sorry, it's in Japanese, the chicken says, maybe it will produce a golden egg. And so I didn't stop to look at what amount that is, but I think it's around 250. It doesn't matter because we're going to sleep well beyond that anyway. In fact, we're going to sleep until fall, I think. So this is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you kind of the safe strat. And I prefer it personally. But it's not technically fastest. Hang on. So we're going to sleep a few more times. Oh, dude, what? Okay. So, and also you can see, I'm sorry, you can see that the cow is only large milk, right? So I'll keep an eye on this because I'm actually curious where it is. Okay. Okay, so it's still only large. It's okay, we're now in fall. Okay, I think it's 200. I'm pretty sure it's 200. Okay, so also the trick here, I'll explain this in a minute. Is it actually that high? Oh my god, wow. Yeah, okay. So it's like 220, and I think it actually is 220. That actually rings a bell. Okay, so as you can see, it's fall 8. The problem is we're in the middle of the mild season, and here's how the gold milk, gold egg mechanics work. It has to be sunny. I think these are, okay, you can't quote me on this, but this is from my experience. The weather has to be sunny on the day of in order to get the golden milk or the golden egg. And so sunny means it's basically 3 different weather. There's basically, well, actually 4 different weather conditions. Rain, heavy rain, which can only happen in the rainy season. What I call fair weather, which is because it looks kind of cloudy because there's kind of puffy clouds, but there's still a fair bit of blue sky because there is no weather condition where it's just pure blue sky, but it's kind of cloudy with a blue sky, and then cloudy. And cloudy is where it's properly all cloudy, no blue sky at all. All you see is gray. So it needs to, the only condition that will give you golden egg or golden milk, at least definitely the golden milk, but I think golden egg and golden milk, is it has to be sunny. Not totally, not overcast. But also the animal has to have been left outside the night before. So what that means is that a day of rain actually loses you 2 days because you have to move them inside. Also, obviously, they can't be sick. You have to move them inside, feed them, of course, then bring them back outside. And then even if it's sunny on that day, you can't get golden milk. You have to go to sleep, and then the next day it still has to be sunny. So what you can end up with a situation, just for casual players, just for your information, you can end up with a situation where you get rainy, sunny, rainy. So then you move them inside. The next day it's fair, so you bring them outside so that you can get a chance at sleeping and getting golden milk. But then the next day it rains again. So the mild season can just completely jerk your chain, and obviously the rainy season is a crapshoot as well because it's overwhelmingly likely that you'll get rain the whole time. So in order to mitigate that, what you can do, and you can't see it from here because you can only see the fall calendar. This is the longest stretch of, as far as I know, I think this is actually the longest stretch of dry season days in the whole calendar. And remember, the calendar is the same every year, no matter what, because they're just replaying the same year over and over in alternate timelines. So from the 25th of fall all the way till the 8th of winter, it's the dry season. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 2 weeks. That's 14 days of dry season. And you actually get an extra day because remember, I can sleep and as long as I haven't gone outside, I will get, I won't have rain. So what I can do is I can actually sleep until the last day of the rainy season, and this day will not be rainy, and then the next day will be dry. And actually, it goes even further than that, but I'll show you. So my point is, what I'm doing is, like, what I could do is I could walk outside right now, and my cow would have enough affection to produce gold milk. And if I got lucky today, I would get gold milk, gold egg, done. You know, over, right? And so that's the best possible outcome. However, it's very inconsistent. Your odds to get golden egg and golden milk are not hella high. They're not like amazingly high. I have the guidebook, the Japanese only guidebook for this game, and I scanned all the pages recently, and I need to read this section and see what it says, because I think there might be some clues in here. I can update the description with this video if I do find something, but for right now, I'll just share with you the safe strat. The safe strat is basically to sleep until the end of the fall rainy season, and then give yourself a good chance, because resetting is also very slow. So what I could do is I could make a save. You know, if I'm playing on console, I could make a save, and then reload if I get rain. But resetting is like over a minute. At least on my console. It depends on the console. But there's kind of another side to this too. So I'll just, not another side to it, but there's just one more thing to take note of. So I'm going to keep sleeping. And we're going to get to the, let's see. So as you can see too, their affection is not going any higher. They cap out at 255. Okay. 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay, we're 21. So I'm actually going to go outside on the 23rd, and I'll show you why. Wait, let me actually just make a save state so I don't totally screw this up. I'll just double check again. So this is the second to last day of the rainy season. So you might, so what we'll do is, so I'll show you right now. So go outside. So remember, this cutscene has nothing to do with the cake contest ending. It's just that we can use this cutscene in order to use this trick to force ourselves to get good weather. And this is actually, I use this a lot. This is really good just casually. You can literally just get Gina. So the requirement is Gina at 10. I'm sorry, Gina at 30. And yeah, it's actually just Gina at 30, period. So Gina at 30 will get you the first cutscene for Goddess Dress, and I think this is the quickest farm cutscene. So especially if you use the Goddess questions to get her to plus 15, it's very easy. So yeah, so we're just gonna skip this cutscene. Okay, and so remember, on today we can check. Wait, we can check our. So we'll check this every day, and I don't even pick up the egg because I don't need to. Because it'll just, you know, it'll just go, I mean, it'll be replaced with whatever egg he lays tomorrow. Or she lays tomorrow. We check our cow. Got large milk. Okay, that's fine. And I just throw it. It's faster than putting it in your pocket. Okay. And so you might think, well, wait a minute. You walked outside on the second to last day of the rainy season, not the last day. Which means tomorrow is still the rainy season. You should get a cutscene, right? Or you should get rain, right? Because you don't have a cutscene stored anymore. But I actually do not get rain, and the reason, this is actually kind of a cute side effect of all this. The second cutscene for the Goddess Dress ending actually involves Katie. So because we used Katie for the cake contest ending, her affection is high enough to trigger this cutscene now, and it's just, you don't have to do anything extra. The requirement for this cutscene is 20 with Katie. You have to trigger the first cutscene with Gina, which was 30 with her, and then Katie, the second cutscene of Goddess Dress is with Katie if you have 20 with Katie. So we literally just get 2 extra days for free. So we have a total of 16 possible days to get of no rain, guaranteed no rain. In this part of the dry season, right? So the last 2 days of the, so it's important that you take advantage of that, because every day matters. So remember, and I'll write this in the notes, but remember, you want to, dang it, dude. You want to walk outside on the 23rd. And again, this is the safe strat, but it's more than worth it. So now, it's just the RNG. And I know this is an hour-long video, but I hope it's been informative. I've really tried to cover all my bases. And just, you know, at this point, this is literally what it is. Now, the other thing is that after the winter dry season is over, also keep in mind, I didn't point this out, but you actually want to check the weather. And this is kind of the unfortunate thing, is that when you walk outside, you can't really see the sky. You can kind of tell based on how dark it is, because if it's overcast, it is a bit darker, but I find it hard to tell. So you kind of want to turn your camera. If it's cloudy, go back inside. Because it can be cloudy during the dry season. We're getting pretty good luck. So they're not exactly 16 days, like where every single day is guaranteed to give you a chance, which is another thing that makes it even more annoying in terms of the luck factor. It's not that horrible. Of course, I'm getting kind of sketchy luck right now, but literally the ending is over right now as soon as I get this. So yeah, so I'll just point this out, but you can see, I'll just show you. It's cloudy, so I am guaranteed not to get... And I actually didn't find this out until recently, which actually really sucks that this is a thing. But yeah, so you can't get golden milk, golden egg. But the ending is over as soon as I get both of these. Okay, good. Got no rain, or got no clouds. Okay, dang it. You know, if you want, what I'll do is I'll put a timestamp to where I finally get the golden egg and golden milk. I'll you know, kind of continue to share some thoughts, but if you want to skip ahead, you can do that. But remember, we check. Okay, we got no rain, or no clouds, I mean. Dang it. And this is a bit of an RNG factor as well, because the cow can be like all the way over there or closer, you know, depending. Kind of accidentally moving the chicken. Okay, we got our golden egg. Okay, so nope. Yep. So we make sure you put it in your pocket, obviously. Okay, and so then you want to make sure, obviously, that you're still kind of keeping track of the days. I mean, you can pause, obviously, and just check, but you want to. Okay, winter music. Oh, we get to hear Winter Town. DP would be proud. It's funny, we talk about, Desert always talks about how this is like one of the best songs in the game, but it's actually specifically the song that plays in the town in winter, but you literally no categories, none of these endings ever get to winter. Wait, this is... Okay, so the sky actually looks a little bit different in winter. This is definitely not cloudy, but that's interesting. I never noticed that. Anyway, so you want to make sure that it's not... You want to make sure that it's not Monday when you get the last golden item. And you obviously want to be very careful here. I'll actually even make a save state. So today's Sunday. We got Delilah appearance. So I'm literally just gonna make a save state in case she walks out of the way. And in case I lose my What? Oh, okay, I accidentally ate it. Okay. Oh, dang it, dude. Doing it on a keyboard is... Yep, so then you literally just do this. Just give her one of each, and she will get... Yeah, as you can see, this is kind of an interesting... So she gets +7. She should get +7 from this. Yeah. So this is... Yep, you would. Okay. No, dude. She gets +7 once she's asked for the once you've given her the recipe. She gets +7 from the golden egg and golden milk. And you're not losing any time if it takes you a little bit longer to give her these. Like if you want to be absolutely sure you're not going to throw it, because right now we need to wait until. Right now we need to wait until. Because we have to trigger another cutscene in the cafe. Wait, don't we? Okay, and so it's worth noting, you know, so you don't have to pause. She enters at about 10:30, I think, or 10:15. I think it's 10:15 actually. So after you see the door swing closed behind her, if you don't have parsley to go off of, you know, you can do that math, but that's about, I guess after she starts walking towards the door, it's an hour and 45 minutes. So that's, it's about 45 seconds. So after you see her start walking towards the door, which is kind of hard to tell because she's walking around anyway, but after you see her start to walk towards the door, you want to try and enter. So now we're going to enter. And so this is something to pay attention to. You'll know when you got the last cutscene. But so that's a failed cake cutscene. And I'm not able to skip that one. So you just need to enter again. So again, I didn't trigger that one because the way that the cutscenes take precedence over each other is kind of goofy. So that cutscene was like from a while back. I was maybe supposed to have triggered that before, but I didn't because I was overridden by me giving her the book. And then, so I need to exit and re-enter one more time. And here we go. So then you can tell from the music it's different. And then it will automatically put you back outside with this part. And there you have it. Okay, so, you know, I'm sorry that this was a lot longer. Like I said, there are a lot of intricacies, like I've been saying. There's a lot of intricacies to this ending, and I just wanted to make sure I covered it well enough. I'm glad I used a save state. Okay, so another thing, you can just let these animals die, obviously. And so now I'm going to sleep for a week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Boom. Finally. Okay, feels good. So I really would like to see people run this. Like I said, I mean, I brought up some optimizations that could be implemented that might need timed. You know, I might do that in the future. We'll see. I at least need to do another any % run of this. As I also said, my any % PB does not... What I did in my any % PB is I did the Moondrop Dew on a separate day, which means I think I just burnt a whole day waiting for 9 p.m. rather than combining it all on one day, even though it's extremely obvious. I don't know why. I mean, I did it a New Game Plus. I did it correctly, but because that was a few months later. Anyway, so I'll go back and update that run eventually, but I will still link it in the description just so that you have something to go off of. But yeah, the animal death cutscene can, I think, take precedence over that cutscene, and make sure that after you sleep a week, if you get rain, obviously you need to sleep. Oh no, you can't get rain. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, so you just sleep a week, so you can't get screwed by rain. Anyway, I'm just gonna let this play out. You guys can enjoy the music, and I hope you'll hit me up with questions. Yeah, so let me know.